Blastpop here. Today I'm taking a quick unboxing of Talon by GMT Games. Quick because I actually want to play this very soon, learn it enough, and maybe possibly do a replay or an example of play for the game. Talon by GMT Games was designed by Jim Crone. It comes in a large box, about a 2.5-inch size box. The game provides a sense of its own history. A lot of notes in there in terms of historical notes and so on and so forth. I've looked at the game a little bit, but before I broke out the pieces and such, I wanted to give you a bit of a look what it has. It's got a reasonably good solitaire suitability rating and a fairly low complexity rating. And in addition, fairly soon, within the month, GMT hopes to be shipping Talon 1000, which is an expansion kit, which not only has the potential for 1,000 scenarios, but there are specific rules for a bot and solitaire play. Now, what's interesting about this game is the counters, the ship counters, take up an entire hex, and your information, as shown here, is contained right on the counters to provide you as much information at your fingertips as possible. Okay. Inside, a couple of dice, markers, and these are markers to mark up the ship counters so you keep the information on them. Baggies, rule book. I believe it's about a 16-page rules book. And actually that's the playbook. The rules book is the thinner one, actually. You got advanced rules, as well as your basic movement, turning, shields. You can reinforce your shields. It has some similar aspects to it as the old classic Task Force game, Starfleet Battles. The units are fired at, and they go through a particular part of the ship's shield. So as an example, depending where you are and the target, it will determine what shield is affected. Again, you put the values on the counters, and you battle it out. It's fairly simple. Then you got advanced rules: retrieve from battles, fighters, missiles, big guns, bases, terrain. So there's all kinds of goodies in this game. Fairly easy to learn. In addition, the playbook includes an extended example of play, both in advanced and basic example of play. History of the ships, more optional rules, scenario generation, which basically Empire War mode is. 12 scenarios. You have a bit of a tutorial in here as well. Very nicely illustrated. And then you can also take Space Empires and combine it with Talon to give yourself a different experience, sort of as a generator for the battles in Talon. Here you have the impulse track. Each turn is divided up into 6 segments, A through F. And depending on what your speed and energy is, the things you do at a given time are done in those segments. So in other words, if you're going at a speed of A, in other words, if you got a speed of 4, you would move in segments A, C, D, and F. And then you keep track of the number of rounds, which is the number of turns. Your combat charts. You've got ships for the Talon and for the human or Terran. You've got your various weapons over here for the Terran and the weapons for the Talon. Critical damages when you reach certain breakpoints in damaging a ship. And there's your critical damage table to the left here. And then your ship movement restrictions. You have a campaign generator, which in essence creates scenarios for you to play. There's a little bit of a strategic overlay. Small marker counters, shield reinforcement, missiles, and so on. Nicely done and functional. And they're the slightly thicker cardstock counters, not the white core. For those who don't want to mark up their ships, you have a small pad, a thin pad of ship information sheets that you can make copies of. Counters, now these are kind of thin, but they're marked on and they have a interesting sheen on them so that these markers can mark on them and not adversely impact information on it. They suggest using Q-tips to clean them off so that you don't damage and leave information on the counters over time, so that it gets permanently stained. And the back, which doubles as terrain for ships that you don't have in play. Here you have a combination of human or Terran and Talon ship forces, carriers, Wasp and Hornet, interesting. And again, more types of terrain. Terran forces. And you have asteroids on the opposite side. You get two maps, a big one and an extension. You use the big map for battles, and then if the battle floats off in a direction off the edge, you use the smaller map, which I'm not going to open up, to move forces and allow units to float on the map, so to speak, so that you don't run off the edge. Nice fully mounted board. Looks to be about 22 by 34. Big hexes, obviously, to be utilized with the big counters. So a very nicely done map. Nicely mounted, perfectly mounted. So there is Talon for you. Give you a sense of what's in the box. And I hope to be at least doing an example of play in the not too distant future. And to give you a sense of how they fit on the board. Just pulling one out. The Destroyer Caleb. It's perfectly within the hex. Very nice. Or if it's space terrain, you've got yourself some asteroids. Anyway, I will be following up with more information on this game, I think. Please like, subscribe, and leave comments below. Thank you. This is Blastpop. Bye.